Easy E, how are we?
Johnny, it's hot still. I don't think it ever gets cold. It's
Do you know what? That's the
great.
weird time you could actually talk about Ireland right now. It's
I
pretty
know,
hot around here going
and
for
that's
runs.
that's what I was saying. A lot of people were going, "Oh my God, it's so hard to run in this heat," and a lot of people were saying, "I always have an excuse." Well, fuck you, because now you know what it's like. But yeah, no, it's good. I'm on the Emmett Dunleavy plan of dreams still. He's tipping away. We had a call last week to see how we can save my 10K.
Oh,
Um,
save.
save my 10. Yeah, well, like it's hard because to do a 90-minute run at home, it's a big difference to doing it here in the heat and the temperatures and everything else. So we had a discussion about what we can do and how we can manage it. So slightly just tailoring what it is I can do and not being able to do and to try and avoid injury because every run ends up being 180 beats per minute by the end of it, even
Mm.
though it's an easier run just because the heat. But I've been out and about more. I've been exploring because the Any Given Run Day marathon t-shirt scratch map had me. So I ventured outside the gates of the compound and went for a run. I was mad. The kids would be running after you and stuff every time. Like, I don't know if they're trying to rob me or say hello, but I just keep running anyway. But no, that's harsh. In fairness, the people in general are friendly to wave and stuff, and it's the temperatures have come down enough that it's you can chance a 5K outside. See,
Mm.
before you just have to kind of run the loops because at any point you might just hit that wall or just hit that point where I'm goosed. So yeah, no, it's nice now and starting to my watch. So what I didn't realize, Sean, sorry, this is a long rant. When I was doing the marathon, everything was on the treadmill. So Garmin basically didn't tell me whether I was good, bad, or indifferent because it only tells you how you're doing if it's
Wait,
based outdoors with a GPS. So
yes,
now all of a sudden it's telling me overreaching, this, that, and the other. I'm
you're
like, wait,
useless.
where were you for the last 10 weeks? Shut your mouth. So it's been good. It has been good. Training's good. I have a little bit of plantar fasciitis. I never knew what it was until my heel started hurting.
Mm.
And it's a bizarre one. I have no pain when I'm running. But what also is kind of causing me problem when I'm in Dubai or I'm here, I'm never in shoes. I'm always in my bare feet and it's on tiles all the time. And I think what hindered me or helped with this element is the running plus also never any give under my bare feet as well. So
Right.
a physio actually said to me that start wearing shoes around the house. Stop just going around in your bare feet for the next little while. And believe it or not, it's made a huge difference. It's actually taken away a lot of the pain. So 2 weeks ago, I was worried, going, "Oh no!" And then I got the little nugget, and I was like, "Okay, we are on." Yeah, feeling a lot better about it. and rolling out my feet every day. They've never been. I've never pampered my feet so much in their lives. So far, so we're looking good for the 10K in Dunshaughlin. So we'll see. Times to be confirmed, but
Did
we'll
you not
see.
say in a podcast 2, 3 weeks ago you're
We
going for
said
the
me.
45
Yeah,
minute?
45. No, that is it. That is what's in the head. What happens on the day is a different story. But we're getting closer to it. We're moving in the right direction. So we'll see how we go with that one.
Well, coming up at the moment on my end, I'm not running too much. I still have the L. People, I hate naming it because I'm not a physio, but everyone keeps telling me it's Achilles tendonitis and stuff. But I'm grand once I start running, but in between runs and stuff, I'm hobbling like hell. So because at the moment I've got nothing planned to this done shocking 10K, a lot of other life events planned in the next coming weeks that we won't talk about the podcast because it's the Run Day podcast.
Married day in
Yeah.
4 days, is it? 5 days?
Yeah, Thursday coming up. It's that's it then.
No, it's not too late, Sean. Not too
Moving
late.
swiftly
Neve,
on.
Neve doesn't listen. You can get out.
So no one wants to hear about me getting married and stuff like that. People want to hear about this week's guest in the podcast. So Eric, who is this week's guest on the Any Given Run Day podcast?
This week, Sean, we have Gary Reinhardt. Gary is a phenomenal man in every essence. As you've said, he has covered so many marathons. You may not even know, but most people who are listening to this have probably met Gary somewhere along the way. You've definitely seen him. And if you haven't heard him, you need to take your AirPods out and start listening during the marathons because Gary is a is a big personality, a big guy. He's paced so many marathons. He has a very unique outlook on all the races he's seen and done himself. This episode was great fun, a lot of slagging and a lot of fun. And we hope that everyone enjoys listening for this week's episode of the Any Given Run Day podcast.
Let's go. So this week on the Any Given Run Day podcast, we have a man of many talents in the running community. From running over 100 marathons, some of them abroad, to ultra marathons where he's done everything from 24-hour races to finishing third in the Connemara 100, to being a race director with the East of Ireland Marathons and pacing every Dublin marathon since 2014. Gary Reinhardt, welcome to this week's episode of the Any Given Run Day podcast. How are you getting on?
What an absolute pleasure to be on this, lads. I love this podcast. I listen to it every week. My Monday run is just listening to this crap. Love it. Love
it. Well, to keep with the theme of crap, we invited you on, Gary, so we're going to keep that going.
lads, I only listened to John O'Regan last week. I love John, right? And I can't believe I'm following on. There's probably going to be a few more guests in between me and John O'Regan, but like, that man is one of the most intelligent dudes I've ever met in my life.
No, Gary, you're straight up a week later.
No, I'm following. Gary, we've set you up here. We've set you up. We said, where can we slot Gary in now? Put him in there. He'll love that. But
We're chalk and cheese, the two of us. Like, we're polar opposites.
Well, we like something different this week, so there we go.
But beyond that, there's probably most listeners, depending on how quick they're running, you probably have more of a reach on the end of October in terms of people who have ran with you, talked with you, and had fun with you over the last 10 years than we have in this podcast. Because pacing a marathon every year, you're running with a couple of thousand who are trying to stick with the balloon that you're running with that year.
Man, I swear, some people, see when you're pacing a marathon, some people use you like they'd use a therapist. It's unbelievable. The stuff I have to listen to, the crap I have to listen to. And I'd be saying to them, here, it's supposed to be me doing the talking here, not bleeding you. I don't want to hear about your fucking dog or whatever that died last week.
Good. So, but before we got into this, where did your running, because Sean has called out some fantastic accolades, like third place is good. If you're not first, you're last, but third is good, Gary. And if you go back to where your journey started, how did running come about in your life? What brought you towards running?
Well, lads, I'm one of these stories, right, that basically if I can do it, anybody can do this shit. Because like growing up, I couldn't even win a fucking egg and spoon race, right? I was honestly dire, right? Like so shockingly bad at doing that and active. Like I was really bad at it. But I got myself really, really fat. I'm a bus driver for the past 24 years. I'm a bus driver. So when have you ever seen a skinny bus driver? They're all fat. Yeah. Right? So,
we apologise to all those fat bus drivers that think they're
sorry,
skinny.
lads. Yeah, sorry to call me colleagues. But so I was one of these I just kept on piling on the weight. Like it was like I was like tipping 18 stone. And then one night, right, this is a true story. One night, these fellas are on my bus, these drunk lads are on my bus, right? And I was having trouble with them. So I fucked them off, right? And the last fella that was getting off the bus, he says to us, mate, don't mind that fat bastard.
Oh.
And that was the first time I'd ever been called fat, right? And because I'm really tall, like I'm 6'4", and I was like, nah, I'm not fat, I'm just big boned.
Big boned.
You know what I
mean? Eric's ticking off the same excuses from his day.
What are you on about? I am big boned.
So I got home, right? I got home to the wife, Fiona, right? And she was abed asleep, and I woke her up, and I was like, am I fat? And she's like, well, you're not exactly skinny, you know? And I was like, and then I was like, I've got tits. And I had a belly like a fucking Buddha, right? So I was like, right, something has to be done. So I had to wait until we went on the holidays. We went on holidays to Rhode Island, and I was afraid to run at home. So I started just literally jogging like a big, pathetic fat man over in Rhode Island.
And that's how it all began. Just to tip on that, what caused your fear of running at home?
Oh, mortification. I was like, if anyone sees me running down the street, because I'm a piss taker, and I would have taken the piss out of anyone. Like, running. I would saying I used to think runners were nerds. You know what I mean? I still do actually, but like, I'd be like that. I can't be seen running like the size of me. So that's how it started, and it just my sister and her partner Ivy, right, Audrey and Ivy, they were runners, and Ivy was a really good ultra marathon runner. So the two of them just had me. They just jumped on me and they just kept on encouraging me, pushing me. And before I knew it, I was like, my sister would be saying like, right, instead of just running the way you're running, why not like sign up for a 10K, sign up for a half? So like I signed up for the Bohermian half and ran that. And that was me then. That was me running journey was kind of like it was rolling at this stage. And the weight was falling on me. And she said to me, after I did the Bohermian, I did the the Kildare half and the Curragh. That was a great one. And then I signed up for the Dingle Marathon. She said, sign up for a marathon. So I signed up for the Dingle Marathon. And Dingle was the first marathon I ran. And then I was just hooked. Absolutely hooked.
Straight away after the first one, you're just like, right, hooked, let's go for 100.
Tired, aching muscles, and overworked feet?
Discover Ultra Pure Ice Cold Menthol Gel, your instant, fast-acting, and cooling savior.
Powered by menthol and boosted by arnica, rosemary, eucalyptus, and peppermint essential oils, it's a powerhouse of natural recovery.
Massage Ultra Pure Ice Cold Menthol Gel into your legs, arms, back, neck, shoulders, or our personal favorite,
Hey, easy, Sean.
feet, and feel the instant cooling sensation.
Grab a tube today. Your body will thank you.
Proudly made in County Mayo by an Irish-owned, award-winning family business, Ultra Pure blends quality, care, and value into every product.
Available in pharmacies and health stores nationwide or shop online. Find out more at ultrapurelabs.ie or on our new website, anygivenrunday.com. Now, let's get back to this podcast.
No. So so I was like, what is this feeling, right? When you go over the finish line of a marathon, I was like, fucking hell. I felt like Superman. I was like, this is amazing. And my brother-in-law, Ivy, right, the ultra runner, back then, Dingle used to have a 50-mile race as well. That's gone now, right? The 50-mile race. I used to think, like, this is when I was, like, well into the training for the marathon. I'd be like, how the fuck can you run 50 fucking miles? So when I went over the finish line that day in Dingle for my first marathon, I was like, best feeling I've ever had in my life. And about 15 minutes later, Ivy then comes flying over the finish line. He's at the running 50 miles. So I was like, man, I feel like an ant and he is like a fucking joint to me. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
I was like, how do I even go about like meeting people that do this shit? So signed up for Dublin. Dublin was like 2 months later or whatever. And then I started seeing these people with 100 on their vest, right? They're MCI, Marathon Club Ireland guys, right? And I was like, don't tell me people run 100 marathons. So I got talking to a few of them. And they're like, oh yeah, you run it. Like the goal is to run 100 marathons. So I went into work and I was like, you know, when you're a new runner, all you do is talk about running. You become a run hole. You know what a run hole is, don't you?
Yeah. It's Sean with legs.
Oh man, just there, blah blah blah, running, blah blah blah, next race, blah blah blah. I'm born the shite out of all these lads at work. But there was the resident runner in my job, right? This outfit, little tiny outfit. He used to drink like cups of hot water, and he was the expert. So his nickname was the Ace, right? They called him the Ace. He died like pretty much about a year after. This was years ago. He actually died, and real suddenly he died, you know. But he was the one that was like, you can't run more than one marathon a year. You can't. You're doing it all wrong. He was giving me loads of advice and all this and telling me. So I started running like a few more marathons, and before I knew it, I'd run like say 5. And then I met him one day in the canteen. He's drinking his cup of fucking hot water, the big sap, and I'm like, here, Jimmy, I'm going to run 100 marathons. And he's like, spits out his hot water. No, you're not. You are not. There's no fucking way. You're not fucking right. So I was like, I swear to fuck, I'm running 100 marathons. I don't care. I told all the lads, I don't care what I have to do. I'm running 100 marathons. So I did.
How long? Over what span?
First marathon was 2012, and my 100 was 2018.
Oh wow, 6 years.
6 years.
Yeah.
Talk us through. How do you plan that? Or are they all official races? Are they all just you decide on Sunday, right? 42.2K, and that's a marathon, or how does it work?
No, they're all official. So like, it's mad. Like the MCI guys, they take this shit seriously. Like that. There's rules for, like, if you want to run 100 marathons, they all have to be certified and official. Blah blah blah.
And you sign up these people then, or what way does that work?
Briefly, I was in them for a while, and then I start meeting all the renegades. Then Anto Lee, Jer Copeland,
the usual suspects lined up.
Right, I met the running, like, Brian Ankers. Do you know Brian Ankers?
Yeah, Brian is in military, was in military.
Yeah, Ankers. There's a bunch of us that were like the renegades. So like, we were like the bold boys from MCI. Do you know what I mean? We were the ones that were like too cool to be in MCI. So started just finding marathons all over Ireland. Like, it's mad. There's marathons everywhere. Like, do you know what I mean? You just have to know where to find them. Like drugs. Do you know what I mean?
Gary, I don't.
So,
performance enhancement.
So yeah, we were like, went through about 2 years, right? And it's really bad because, like, I had a young family, like, you know. So Fiona and the two kids, Connor and all, they were only young, and every weekend I was Connemara, Belfast, fucking Waterford, Cork. I was everywhere every Saturday. I was just pretty much running a marathon every weekend. So like, that's not sustainable. You can't do that forever. Like.
Yeah, and how did the body? What was the most you've done in a 12-month period? In a January to December, what was the most you squeezed in?
I think it was around 34, 35, something like that.
34.
It was ridiculous. Like,
one a week, one every 10 days or something.
It was ridiculous. You didn't do, like, so. Jer Copeland will tell you that when you're in that frame of mind, right? Your training is literally, you're running marathon to marathon. So you might do a few runs during the week, but your long run is a marathon. And that's it.
How did the body hold up? Obviously, well, if you could squeeze out 34, or was there ever a point you thought, I don't know if this is the right thing, or did you get to 15 and say, well, I said I'm going to do it? How did it hold up for you over that? How did you feel during that process?
Well, once I got into the ultra stuff, so it's like, again, you're gonna think I'm a junkie here, but I'm saying it as a reference. It's like like drugs. You know the way they say that, like, you start on weed, and before you know it, you're on heroin. Like,
yeah.
Like, you run a marathon, and then you're like, oh, that buzz is just deadly. I want a bigger buzz. So you start going, seeing other people doing, like, say 50K, and going, right, that's my next port to call. And before you know it, then Anto Lee is calling me every name under if you call 50K an ultra. And I was like, well, what is an ultra? 50 miles. I was like, right then, let's do 50 miles. So like, you just move through the distances until, before you know it, it's 100 miles, 24-hour races. And then your my body start breaking down. Like, Jesus Christ, I start getting riddled with shitty little injuries. So that's
what
kind
injuries
of
talking about?
What?
What kind of injuries are we talking about here? Just shin splints kind of thing, feet?
No, I got the classic plantar fasciitis. Yeah, that's horrible because it doesn't go. It takes like guts of a year to not get out of bed, and you put your feet in the ground when you get out of bed, and your heel is where the fucking pain is.
I have a little touch of it now, and it is the most frustrating. I'm actually grand when I run. It's when I'm standing in my bare feet, I'm like, oh, that's so sore.
I'm afraid to ask you, when you got stuff like that, was the solution just run through it until it goes? Because you said you had it for the best part of a year. I can't imagine you took a year out of running.
No, just run through it. Run through it, and like, I'd be gimping my way around marathons, dragging my leg and all. Like,
Yeah, it's horrible.
Stupid, stupid
Yeah,
stuff.
I'm trying to pull back now for like a month or two. I've no races planned just because I have been limping for the last 6 months when I'm not running. Like Eric said, when I'm running, I'm grand. When I stop, I feel that. But when you're doing 24-hour races, like you did the Energy Belfast 24-hour race, 201 kilometers, and that's a lot of time for 24 hours being in your own head. What was going through your mind? Like at one stage, did you think? This all started because some randomer I don't even know called me fat, and all of a sudden I'm in a 24-hour race. Like, what's going through your mind doing these things?
So that is funny. It's funny. See, the people I was hanging around with, like, it's normal. It's normal for all them, right? So it was just normal for me. So I was signing up for these races, but I was really naive about it because ignorance is bliss. So, like, when you're signing up for a race and you don't know how much it's going to hurt or whatever, you just go, yeah, great, sign up for that grand, pay the money. But we had this. This is a funny one, right? So we had a holiday. Fiona, I'm so sorry for this. We had a holiday, right? And we went to Holland to one of those parks, you know, that you have the chalet and all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
And we were away, and we had a plan, blah, blah, blah. And then I realized that this Energy, a 24-hour race, was on the Saturday that we were still due to be away. And
No.
we had to cut the holiday short, right? And this the mad thing, right? So you're going to be going like, this is how unelite I am, right? So, like, you're going to be going, you must have been putting great preparation in with your nutrition. Me bollocks, we were sculling wine for the whole fucking week. I mean, proper drinking, right? It was during the Euros in 2016, right? So we watched Ireland beat Italy one night. Do you remember that game? Ireland beat Italy. Yeah. Robbie Brady scored.
Robbie
right?
Brady.
And I was absolutely shit-faced, right? But before I got properly shit-faced, we were sitting on our little balcony, and the kids were playing and all this. And Fiona says to me, this was like, I think it was I don't know, was it a Wednesday night it might have been? And Fiona says, hey, you have this 24-hour race on Saturday. What distance do you think you're going to do? And I hadn't, honest to God, I hadn't even thought about, like, that. I wouldn't even think about putting a figure on it. So I just went, I don't know, 24 hours, 200k. And once that 200k went into my mind,
oh my God,
for fuck's sake, it was ridiculous. 200k in 24. So, like, the race started at midday up in Victoria Park in Belfast, right? It was a warm day or whatever. And I remember the first few laps, right? I was running behind Eddie Gallen. You know who Eddie Gallen is?
No.
He's probably one of the best ultra runners in Ireland, right? But to me, he looked like a little withered old man, right? He's phenomenal, right?
Is he any good on Zoom? We get him on after you to really make you look bad.
Eddie, Jesus, I'm telling you, this fella's unbelievable. Anyway, but I was watching him running, and he had this stride. Now, you have to see it, right, to understand it. It's the most economical way of running. His feet are barely leaving the ground, and he's not taking any actual strides. So he's not lifting his knees, really.
Yeah.
So he's just going like that. So I looked at that, and I was like, I'm going to try running like that just to see. And I ended up getting into this rhythm, and it became so easy that I was like, I could actually run forever running like this way. Me being so tall, I take a big stride, but I had to adjust my stride to taking short steps and run forever. I could literally run forever. So hours and hours and hours went by without, like, I think I have a fucking brain the size of a pea anyway, but there was nothing going on in my head. It was like flatline. And middle of the night, I was hallucinating, seeing, like, obviously it was dark. No, I was seeing some deadly stuff. So they had these strip lighting, fluorescent lighting, but they were vertical strip lighting, if you know what I mean, right? Around the course to light up the paths, right? So you're running. It's a 1.1 mile loop around Victoria Park, and in when you're in amongst the trees, they had these fluorescent lights just to light up. I was seeing them as lightsabers. And I was like, there's Darth Vader in there, and he's holding up a lightsaber, and, like, they're giving me a guard of honor. Mad stuff going on. And yeah, it just kept on. And before I knew it, it's bright, and I'm still going. And I remember the planes, it's near Belfast Airport, right? So the planes, when it was evening time, you're watching the planes landing and taking off. Then in the night time, there was obviously no planes. And next thing, it's morning and you're starting to see the planes coming again. And I'm still running. And I'm like, this is mad. And there's a scoreboard. So at the start of every loop, there's a scoreboard so you can see your distance. And I'm there chalking up the kilometers. And I'm like, this is like, I'm getting somewhere here. And so I was like, I'm not fucking giving up now until I see 200. And it was getting tight towards the end. And when I hit 200, I probably had about 15 minutes to spare, 20 minutes to spare, something like that. I was fucked at that stage. And that last kilometer was like done on me hands and knees. I didn't give a shit because 200k was what I'd said. That was the deal I'd made with myself. And I did it. And I think I came 11th or 12th.
It's amazing that, Gary, isn't it? The deal we make with our bodies. You know, like I've said it a few times and I can't explain it. I'm saying, listen, if you can just get to this, but one step beyond that is next or near impossible.
Impossible. Yeah, definitely.
What way can you describe that you set yourself up? Or what can we do? I know it's mind over matter. I know it's, it's easier said than done, but I can never explain it to people how it works. What way does it work for you? How do you set yourself up for that? And then are you like me when that one step afterwards, I'm just like, no, not a chance.
Yeah, I tell you, do you know where I actually got a lot of that stuff from? Jer Copeland, running with Jer, right? You like in the early years, you get to see someone who, the way Jer runs, he runs angry, right? And he runs in this way that he's running to punish himself. Almost, it's like he's at war with himself. It's a war of attrition with one person, with his body. He's literally, you'd see him running fucking angry, right? So I used to kind of, when I was doing the ultra stuff, I'd be going, you're not suffering enough, so keep fucking going, and then you'll fucking feel more pain. And but the pain was normal, and it was you were kind of, it was definitely firing up something in your brain to make pain normal and go like, come on, just keep fucking driving, drive, you know, rather than going, I'm bollocks, I want to lie down the side of the road. You're going, oh, come on, just fucking please, just keep going. That's the way I was thinking.
Looking to recover faster, train harder, and perform better?
And then what?
Perform Nutrition is one of Ireland's leading sports nutrition brands with a number of great tasting protein powders, a range of vitamins, as well as other supplements such as creatine. All products are made in the GMP facility in the west of Ireland, and they have a range of batch tested and informed sports certified products. Perform is trusted by a number of Olympians, High Rocks champions such as Sean Noble, he was in the podcast.
Yeah, right, he was.
Also CrossFit Games athletes such as Emma McQuaid and many more. Perform's goal is to offer the highest quality, best tasting nutrition products for competitive prices, and now you can get an extra 25% off all products with the code AGR on their website, performnutrition.com.
25%? I'm typing it in now. And don't forget, we are supporting Irish companies. You are supporting this podcast by listening to this advert. So support Irish, get behind your podcast and get behind your local businesses. And until then, let's get back to the podcast.
It's amazing. And even not comparing Jer to Kipchoge, but I watched an interview with Kipchoge and he talks about that. He says, when pain arrives, love the pain, appreciate the pain, be friends with the pain. Because if you can't go through the pain, you'll never have success in the running and stuff. Like, it is true in a sense. And you see it probably, that aggressive side, I have that in the last 5K. And you see people who start falling off and falling over, they're just not aggressive enough with themselves. And that, I never thought it was here. Some people probably are thinking, I'm a nut job. But if you have that, like, come on, you can do it. Like that little bit of fight with yourself, you just see the fight leave everyone else though. They just give up on themselves. They just don't have that aggressiveness or that aggressive is probably the wrong word, but maybe it's the right word as well, that to just like have a row with yourself to keep going. And I'd say you have done that. I don't know how many times you've done that over. And not only that, you've seen it. I don't know how many times with people in the marathon. How do you guide people through those last 10K when the talking about their dead dog stops? What do you see from people? Because I love when I see 29K because I know here we go. Everyone who ran past me an hour ago, I'm about to see them again in a horrible state. How do you manage people, coach people, and what have you experienced in that final 10K over all those years of pacing marathons?
Oh man, it's funny. You know, there's a lot of funny stuff happens, right? Because people are like, see, like when I'm running a marathon, I'm a completely different person to when I'm pacing. So like, people annoy the fuck out of me, right? In general, people just annoy me, right? Everything about them. They're
It's a
breathing.
good thing you don't work with the public or anything like that.
I can't
Gary.
wait. I can't wait. I'm going to stand on your roof for 24 hours. I'm not running. I'm going to stand there just to get on and shout abuse at you.
Just everything. So like, I'll give you an example, right? So this remember I met you when I met you at the Dublin half a few weeks ago. I was pacing 150, right? And I had this coachie. Sorry to all the coachies, right? But I had this coachy fella running with me for ages, right? And
there goes 2,000 listeners.
He was wrecking me head, right? So he was like basically touching me. He was like, I hate this thing, right? So when people are too close, I feel like they're taking the energy away. I want to be the one that's giving the energy to people. Whereas when someone's like all up on me, like I'm like, you're taking the energy away. And he kept on asking me stupid questions, right? And I'm like, here, I'm not a fucking tour guide. You know what I mean? I'm trying to pace you here, right? So he just kept on coming up to me anyway. And you know those inner city runners?
Yes.
They're brilliant. They're great crack because I'm a banter merchant, right? And I know that I'm gonna be bouncing off all them. There's loads of them and they're fucking great crack, right? So we're coming near the end, right? So do you know Ossory Road, right? You're in the last kilometre. You know that last hill up to where Newcomen Bridge is?
Yes.
So we're coming up there anyway, and he was after asking me about 20 times. And when will I know this? I won't do his accent because I'm shy at accents. When will I know finishing straight is coming up? When will I know? When will I know? And I was like, oh man. So I knew I had a big gang of the inner city gang were around me. You know, I could hear them all talking and chatting and all this. So I was like, oh, here's my chance, right? Here's my chance. So I says, do you know the 5 lamps? Do you? And he goes, yeah, I do. And I says, hang your bollocks off them. That's an old Dublin. That's a really old Dublin phrase. And I swear about 200 people were cracking their holes laughing. Like they're all in stitches because that's an old Dublin. If anyone ever says to you, do you know where the 5 lamps is? You know you're getting set up. Do you know what I mean? You know you're getting set up. It's so when I said that, I was like, there you go now. You can have that.
And then when it comes to actually the nicer side of you that we know you have, I know you're saying that it's always this, but there is that side that gets people through races. What have you seen and how encouraged are you of seeing people kick on in front of the balloon as such? That side of you that comes out. How good does that feel? From a not setting your own PP perspective, but looking at people achieving theirs, how good is that?
That is literally the aim of the game for a pacer. That is the aim of the game, right? So I wanna encourage people, right? In the so you have different types of runner, okay, but in the first half of a marathon, you don't want to have people boring the ears off you because you know they're going to be the ones that are
struggling.
Because their energy is getting zapped with every kilometer they run. So you're looking around and you're seeing people that are being quiet, but they want to run in the pace group, but they're quiet. And then there's the ones that are stuck to the pacer, right? They're all the ones that will, by about 30K, they're gone. They're absolutely gone, right? And the ones who are quiet, they're still there. So they're the ones that I want to be turning around to. and saying, hey, come on, how are you feeling? Like, come on, are you all right? Let's go. And that last, like, I always, in Dublin, you get to the UCD flyover, right?
Yeah, game over.
That's when I'm like, right, everyone in front of me. I want to see all your backs. So when you're running up the RDS, there's bodies everywhere. It's chaos.
Yeah.
And that's where a pacer earns their tiny amount of money that they earn. That's where you do your job is there, where you're going, come on, you go up there. Like people that are dying on their feet, they think they've got nothing left, but they're the ones that have to be in front of me. You know?
Yeah.
And it's a great feeling then at the end. It's a deadly buzz at the end when people are coming up to you and they're, do you remember? And you'd see their face. You go, geez, I remember you at 5K. I remember looking at your face. Do you know what I mean? So I'd remember a lot of their faces and they're all coming up to me to say thanks. That's deadly. But I always say, thanks is good. A pint of McGrattan's is better.
Before the Dublin Marathon, you're pacing, when all your paces and stuff are together, do you guys all have the same strategy leading into it? I know if you're doing the same time as someone, you'd have to, because there's a few who's doing pacing the same times, but is it always get in 2-3 minutes early? Is it all even split? Do people have different approaches to it? Talking about the Dublin Marathon, for example, like the first half might be more hilly and stuff. Do you approach it a different way? What way do you talk about before the race, or is it just each person for themselves? I just need to get the person across the line in that time it says in my balloon.
Well, no. So Anto and Jennings, they're kind of in charge of the paces, and it's pretty strict, and it always has been strict, as in even splits, no excuses. So none of this banking minutes. You don't do that. You just don't do it. What you do is what I always say to people. Like there's a couple of hills, and Dublin's it's a tough marathon.
It is tough.
Okay,
yeah.
There's a lot of drags, right? And I'm never going to give anybody 10 seconds or 30 seconds in a mile going up a drag. But for some of the sharper hills, I'll say to somebody, we'll agree. Me pacing partners will agree. Right, we give them a 9:30 mile here, and then we'll gradually just get it back. So you're still running even splits, but you're giving them just little bits of breaks going up the sharper hills. For example, coming up there, Chapel is there. You're coming up to that.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, and it's early enough in the race.
That's the first real tough one I find.
Yeah, so you don't want to be. It's really demoralising, right? If you're in a pace group and if you just see the pacer just charging up this hill. So, like, you're really conscious about giving people a chance to get up the hill without knocking the bollocks out of them. So, like, each time you do that, you do have to get your 10 seconds back or 20 seconds back. But it's pretty much even. Is what the rule is.
Is there much pressure? Obviously, you probably don't feel it having 100, but is there a pressure on the pace? Do you feel pressure wearing the balloon? For that race. I always say, like, it's amazing. Like, you have to be on your game. Now, I know there's redundancy, and that's why there's 3 or 4 pacers. I can't remember. I think it's 3, is it, Gary?
3 and 4 in the busy group, which is the 4 hour, which is what I do.
Yeah. So that's that. So you have redundancy. So if someone has an off day, there's still a balloon going. If 3 people have a bad day, there's still one going. You don't get nervous anymore, or is it just all fun now, just all enjoyable? And do you just pick a pace that no matter what, this is my all-day pace, I could do an ultra at this pace? Is that how you kind of set yourself up for a good day?
Yeah, it's like there can't be pressure. There's no pressure, not for me, right? And even all the way down to the 3 hour pacers. If you're pacing, let's just say if I'm pacing 3:40, okay, and if 3:40 is too hot a pace for me, I shouldn't be pacing that. So it has to be, the pace I'm pacing has to be relatively easy. A marathon, no marathon is exactly easy, but there can't be pressure about your own pace. If I can't talk bollocks for 4 hours, I'm at the wrong pace. Simple as that. And if you look at the 3 hour lads, those 3 hour lads are well capable. Some of them are like 2:30 marathon runners. So they're exactly the same as I am. They're totally comfortable with their paces all the way through. I had a stinker. Anto, I'm sure, will love to remind me of this, right? You'd swear I was the only pacer to ever fuck up, right? A few years ago, a few years ago, you were talking about it on one of your pods. Do you remember the year? I think was it 23, the really warm day that everyone was saying.
Yeah.
Now this sounds like a total excuse. It's not a fucking excuse, right?
All right, we
an
love
excuse,
excuses.
right? So 2 days before that race, I was pacing 340, right? And I was fine for 340. I'd ran a marathon in Monaghan the month before, a practice 340 pace, and I ran a 340 that day. So I knew I was fine for it, right? 2 days before, I started feeling like as if I was getting some sort of a cold or something like that. And we went to the expo and I was doing the pacer stand and I started feeling my chest was really tight and I was like, oh, bollocks, I'm getting a fucking chest infection. So I swear, like that day, the day of the expo, I got a full-on chest infection. So the morning of the race, I'm in Lusk AC, right? And Fiona, my missus, she was running the marathon as well, right? So we all get a bus in together. And I got on the bus, and normally I'm fucking Mr. Bleeding, ripping the shit out of everyone, slagging everyone, having a crack. I was quiet as a mouse, right? Because I was like, there's something not right here, and I should not have started that race. I should not have started. So went through all the rigmarole, get your balloon on and all that. And 5K in, I was struggling. I was like, I don't feel good. Chest, I was sweating buckets. Remember, it was really warm.
I
was putting it down to it just being warm. Nah, I was fucked. So we came into Phoenix Park and something just went and I was like, I can't do it. So I stopped dead. Them balloons, the ribbons are made of, I don't know what they're made of. It's like canvas or something, right? I stopped dead. I chewed the balloon and took ages to chew through it, right? There's a little kid standing there with his dad, right? And I went to the kid, here, gave him the balloon, and I turned around, I went, fuck! Screamed at the top of my lungs, fuck! And I said to myself, right, I'm just going to jog the rest of the marathon now because I'm gone. I'm out of the pace group. Tried to jog, couldn't even jog. Did it? I got as far as Chapel Elizabeth and I had to walk back to the start. The walk of shame.
Oh,
the walk
you
of
should be
shame.
ashamed of yourself,
And look. So that day, my pace partners were Carol Fielding. Don't know whether you know Carol. That's Brian Conroy's missus, right? Carol was there. Ollie Carney was there, right? 3 of us, right? So Carol was feeling like shit as well. She got to about mile 14 and just stepped off the course. Right? She said she was feeling shit. Ollie was bollocksed, right? So he was the last one. Ollie was the last one, and he said he hit the wall.
Oh my God.
With about 5K to go. And the pressure he was under so much pressure. He had all these people to get in. And he soldiered on, feeling like shit because everyone was feeling like shit that day. Around 10 pacers either DNF'd or fucked up that day.
I think it was 2022. I remember seeing it. The amount of people that last 3 kilometers, especially. I was only talking to someone recently, even at the finish line. I've never, like, half the people literally went into the tent as the other half got the medals. And it was like a war zone that lasted a bit.
Yeah.
It was insane.
Was it 23 or 22?
I think it was 22.
It was 22.
I think the year I believe it was the year I got my PB in Dublin. Like, I don't know how, but
how did you get
the other years were shocking.
Brian Anker's paced 350 that year. I ran with Brian Ankers.
Yeah. I remember looking when Ankers was running by me. I seen a look of pure sympathy.
But you got to the finish. What did Anto say to you?
Oh man, he's still hammering me. He's still nailing. Still, and I'm like, dude, 10 other people fucked up as well, but I'm always the one that gets thrown under the bus. You know what I
mean? Deservedly slow. You and Sean would be great mates. Come here, Carol. Am I right in saying Carol paced a half with you? That's the lady we met at the 150. That's right.
That's Carol. Yeah, she's lovely.
So you've probably paced a lot of them marathons together.
No, so the only time that's what we were saying. That was the only time we paced was when we fucked up. So we said
Never
at the half,
again.
at the start line of the half there a few weeks ago, we were like, "Oh fuck! If we fuck
Oh
up, we're
no.
gone. We're gone. We're never pacing another race ever again."
Speaking of pressures and stuff like that, just to switch gears slightly, you've also been a director of many of these races and stuff like that. How's it been on that side of being organising the entire races? You did East of Ireland with Jared Copeland.
So I didn't come up with East of Ireland. It was Jared Copeland and Frank McDermott. And I was only at the start and running, right? And I met Jared and Frank. And I heard they were going to put on their first ever race in Clontarf. And I was like, sounds great. It was on the first ever EOI race was on the Clontarf half course. You know the half course that they do, the half marathon there?
I know, I haven't ran it now. But yeah.
So that was the course. You do it twice, basically. It's nice and simple, right? And I remember that morning going up to sign up, registration, and Jerry's standing there, and he's there with his clipboard, blah blah blah, and he's real. The way he is, he's just real officious. Do you know what I mean? He was totally like no fucking around here, and no, you can't act like Billy Bollocks in front of Jerry because he'll cut you fucking down, right? So he's there, right? Hiya, Gary, yeah, right, yeah, blah blah blah, grand, right, yeah. Just real, and I was trying to like chat to him or whatever. He's like, no, so grand. So the race started anyway, and I ran a huge PB, right? And I was really, really like naive about all that stuff, right? So I remember going to the finish line. So Jer was like, he'd register you, and then he'd run the race himself, and always fucking win. Do you know what
I mean? Checking the PBs too fast. You're not doing this one.
So he was there to finish, and I'm there, fucking chariot to four, coming up to finish, massive PB, right? I came in at 3:30 and 15 seconds or something like that, right? And do you know what Jerry says to me, right? He gives me my medal, and he goes, "Hard luck." hard luck. I was delighted. A massive PB, and I was like, And he's like, "Hard luck." And I was like, what do you mean? He says, "You're supposed to be under 3:30, you fucking idiot." And I was like, oh man, I love this shit. This is great. Yeah. So then Frank and Jerry were doing it for a while, and the two of their personalities, right? Frank is like a pit bull, right? And Jerry's like a little baldy terrier, right? And the two of them don't exactly attract the masses, right? So I became involved because I was like, lads, you have to kind of you have to cajole people, and you have to get them involved, and you have to people are going to come. The nicer we are, the more. So I came on board then, right? And it was my personality that was attracting all the people, and that was it. So people were just coming, and before we knew it, it went from 20 people running the marathon to 200 people. So I was bringing different courses and all that. So I was I live in Lusk, so I kind of came up with a route in Lusk, and everyone just loved that Lusk race. It was just so popular. We ended up putting it in October, putting a 20-miler on. So it was we were
building to Dublin. Okay.
Yeah, so we were competing with that Longwood three-quarter. They were doing theirs and we were doing ours, and we were getting. I mean, they were getting thousands. We were getting a couple of hundred. Do you know what I mean? But people were loving it, flocking to it from all over.
When you're setting up that route, what were you looking for? What were you making? Do you want to make it harder to kills? Did you what kind of things were in your mind when you were coming up for a route for a 20-mile run?
Well, right, you have to deal with what you have in front of you. So what made it such a perfect route is right. So EOI races, we were such a small organization that we didn't need a permit because we had so few runners. Okay. Anto Lee was the course measurer, right? So your course had to be officially measured, right? I was responsible for the course being safe. So safety is paramount because you're not closing roads or anything like that. So this is a countryside loop. And I knew that you have to have all left turns. So that's why EOI races, all of our courses were loops, because you can't be crossing roads. You can't be crossing roads.
Gotcha, okay.
So left turn, left turn, left turn, left turn. That's all it was. You know what I mean? And it worked so well. You'd have a bunch of about, say, 20 marshals. and everybody had to be really tuned into what they were doing because safety was so paramount that you'd be coming up to a junction. It doesn't matter how busy or not busy it is. There has to be a marshal standing there in high vis just to make sure that cars see runners and there's no mishaps. Do you know what I mean? It was a tough route. I mean, it was 3 laps and it was hilly as fuck. But like, what are you gonna do?
Prep yourself, yeah.
It was the most popular race we had. It was the most popular one we had. You know,
you can only race what's in front of you, and I suppose if you can take on a 3/4 over hills when you take on Dublin, you've confidence in the legs. Then you've confidence in everything else. One thing myself and Sean saw, we went to Barcelona. You didn't sign up for that. It was too beneath you or something. We'll try again next year. But it's we're seeing a lot of people running with headphones on and earbuds in and crowds cheering, and they're oblivious to it all. Are you noticing a shift in people now running with just the music in and not taking it in, not listening, not hearing a wheelchair coming behind them? That was the biggest one for me, was when a wheelchair runner was coming through, or a charity, but they're clipping along, they're cruising, and people don't even hear them because they've got headphones in, and they end up blocking.
That happened in the Dublin half marathon with the inner city runners. They were running across, and that the wheelchairs and stuff, and guys with just headphones on, we're not getting out of the way, like.
Yeah, you get it. You get it an awful lot. It's Anto has strict rules of no headphones because in Donadee, especially because it's such a tight course, you need to hear the faster runners coming up behind you. You know, but on any race, on any some people need the music or whatever. You run to the beat. You want to get into your flow. I ran loads of marathons with headphones in, and I had to stop. You didn't hear what happened to me.
No.
Did you learn the hard way not to run with headphones on?
Oh, lads, I had one of the worst experiences of my life. Right?
Oh, shoot!
He's getting the popcorn.
Why does this shit happen to me? Right, so we all went up the Lusk AC crowd. Right, they did a Gary O'Hanlon training plan. Right, and everyone was in really, really great shape going up to run Belfast. Right. This is a few years ago. This is about 3 or 4 years ago. And I was in good nick myself. Do you know what I mean? So I was like, I'm going to go up here now, give this a good rattle, you know. And grand, I was only at the buying a pair of AirPods, right? So I was like, have these fancy ass AirPods. They're going in. I'm going to be listening to me tunes, right? And started running, got myself into this lovely flow state, right? I'm bouncing along, right? Everything was just going sweet. I was like, I don't know, PB could be on here. I don't know, but things are going great. Next thing, right? So the way I run is, right, I have the AirPods in and I have one of those running belts. And I have the running belt turned around so that my phone is sitting into the small of my back, right?
Yeah.
I'm running along anyway. I'm about 10 miles in, right? 16K, whatever, right? I'm bouncing along, right? Next thing, I hear this fucking dial tone in my ear. And I'm like, what's fucking going on here? Right? The fuck? And I just hear, in a Northern Ireland accent, emergency services. What's your emergency? And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Right? And I'd only bought the fucking AirPods like 4 days before. So I hadn't set them up properly. Right? So I hadn't set the settings up to that you could talk through the fucking things, right? So on that listening, I'm like, I don't know what's going on here. So I just kept on running, and she's like, emergency services, what's your emergency? What's your emergency? And I'm like, no emergency. Stop. Hang up. Next thing, she hangs up, right? And I was like, that was a bit mad, right? So I made it another 2K down the road or whatever. Phone goes again, ringing, right? And I'm not taking my belt off, and I'm not stopping for all this shit, right? The button was held down,
right?
So whatever happened, right? That call center dispatched a call to I think it was Dungannon, because that's what came up on the phone when I checked afterwards. A police station in Dungannon called me. This time it was a man. Emergency services. What is your emergency? Can you talk? And I'm like,
running. Say pineapple if you're in danger.
Right? And then this is the worst bit, right? So I didn't know whether, like, I didn't know that the AirPods weren't set up that you couldn't talk, right? So I'm running
Oh,
through
wow.
this. There's a water station. There's people everywhere, right? And me, all 6 foot fucking 4 of me, right? Shouting, no emergency! No emergency! No emergency! No. And your
Check
man's
his
not hearing me.
shorts.
So then I start going like this. Maybe it's the command I've got wrong. So I start going, stop, 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 stop. And I was shouting like up into the sky, stop, stop. Imagine how bad I look to people. Like,
Imagine how bad you sound to the emergency service. It's just some bloke screaming, stop.
like randomers all looking at me going, this spacer is just running a marathon shouting, stop.
Now
You know?
you could have just turned your belt around and turned off your phone.
Yeah. Do you know what happened?
Could have avoided all this, Gary.
I hit the wall like a ton of brick. The fucking head went after that. I tell you, Jesus, that was me. My race was pretty much over at like 20k. I was like, oh Jesus, but that's it. Never again. The headphones just stay away.
No AirPods.
Absolutely. Gary, you've done it at the very intro. I did mention all the marathons and stuff you've done. You've done a lot of abroad marathons recently. You're in Hamburg. You've done Amsterdam marathon. You got under 3:30 in that one, so you can stick to the chair for that. All these marathons, races, and all that. To wrap it up, if I had to pin you down and say one favorite race, what would that be?
Right. I'd say I'm going to claim the €50 off Anto Lee by saying the Donadee 50k. I periodically pace Donadee, you know, and one of the years I was pacing it, you know yourself that the Garmin is useless in the woods.
In Donadee, yeah.
And I'm standing at the start line, pacing 4:30, right? And I just pressed the button on my watch, and it was not finding any fucking signal, right? So I was like, oh, bollocks. So I'm looking around, and I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do it. I'm supposed to be pacing 4:30, and I've got nothing. So there's a fella near me, right? Eddie Donegan, his name is, right? And he was wearing a Casio watch. You know, one of them things you'd see in the
glow
80s,
in the dark. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I just went to, I was like, I need it. I says, Eddie, give us your watch. Right. So this is gone like old school. So like I had to pace 4:30 on a Casio. So literally all I could do was run by feel and time each lap. Exactly each lap. And then Anto the bollocks, then there's a great photograph of me pacing it to perfection, may I add. Coming in the finishing straight, right? You know where you're getting all the music and Mark Nealon is there.
Mark, yeah.
Absolutely destroying everybody with the worst slags ever, right? I'm coming down the finishing straight, checking the watch, everything's grand. Anto jumps on me back, and I had to give him a jockey back. The last 50 feet or something. The weight of the fucker, you know what I mean?
Very good. And if you weren't being paid from Anto, if we were signing up for a marathon, what would you recommend from all the ones you've done? Ireland and abroad. You can pick one at home and one abroad.
I have to say like that 100 miler, the Connemara 100 miler, I think that was me at my finest. You know, it all went downhill after that. I was like, oh man, this could be the start of some great ultra running career. But really, I just got wrecked with all sorts of injuries. But it was that Connemara 100, like it was the most comfortable I've ever felt, and I somehow managed to come third in a race. Like 17 hours and 47 minutes. It's not exactly like elite or anything like that, far from it. But it's elite for me. And it gave me so much belief and so much, it made me feel so good about myself. So like, that's why I do it. So you want to feel good about yourself, don't you? Wasn't like that I was racing the people around me, but it was like, I feel fucking deadly here. There was one part, and I have to say this. There was a fella, Darren Sheridan, right? He was in DBRC with me, right? So we were club mates. And Darren's a far better runner than me, right? Far better. He was like knocking on the door of 3 hours for a marathon and all this. And really good racer, like. Whereas I was never a racer. He was a proper kind of. And the way you run in Connemara, you have a crew. You know, you have your crew car with you. And I had my sister and Ivy, right? They were crewing for me. And every time you get to a checkpoint, you get to hear your crew will go in and sign you into the checkpoint. And then they'll find out when the last person was in the checkpoint. So you get a little bit of a time gap between you and the person that's in front of you. And I noticed after halfway, like, I started making up more time. And Darren, he was ahead of me. And at one stage, he was like an hour ahead of me, right? And then Audrey would come out and she'd go, Darren's 42 minutes ahead of you or whatever. And I go, Jesus. And then I was like, maybe I could, no, surely I couldn't. So about 75 miles, right? It's a really long road, right? And I'm just running along, like brain doing nothing, right? Just running along. And far in the distance, I see a car. And I was like, I just knew that is Darren's crew. That's his fucking crew. So Audrey, I sent her up. I said, fly down there, make sure that's him. And she flies down, comes back to me. Yeah, that's him. He looks bollocks. So I'm like, oh, right, it's fucking, I have to do this. So I was like, right, get myself together, right? Try and catch him. So I'm catching him. So I'm just behind him now at this stage, right? And I'm like, right, get your shit together, right? Think of something to say, right? Say that casual. Do you know what I mean? Casual, right? So I pull up beside him, right? And he looks like fucking death itself, right? And he just looks at me. Oh, what's the story? How are you feeling? And I just went to him, fantastic. And I just just legged it. Right? I legged it. And I just legged it. And I was like, fuck this. Legged it like much faster than I'd been running. And I turned this corner, went up this fucking hill. And it's the road. As soon as you turn that corner, you're on the road to Roundstone. And it's barren as fuck. And there was a wind that was just coming straight into my face. And suddenly, I'm the one that's bollocks. I'm like, oh, fuck. I'm after doing that too soon. So I was like, oh, no, I'm fucked. Running into a headwind on my own for like about 5 or 6 miles to get the Roundstone. And then I'm like, oh, man, I'm after making him angry. He's going to chase me down now and he's going to make right me. So for the next, 20 miles or whatever to the finish line, I'm so stubborn I won't look behind me. So I was like, he is chasing me. He's chasing me. He's going to get me. And we got to some checkpoint and they were feeding me Muller rice. That's what I was eating. And I asked for a can of Red Bull. So milled the Muller rice. And then I was drinking a Red Bull and Audrey says, oh, I think I see him. Fuck. So I nailed the Red Bull and took off like a scalded cat down the road. And next thing, I just did this big projectile vomit. It all just came out like The Exorcist. Right? And I was like, oh, shit. So Audrey came up beside me and she's like, oh, are you all right? I was like, yeah, I'm grand. Do you know the way you feel great after a puke?
Yeah.
And
well,
I was like, I'm grand. And then I just said, did anybody see that? Because I didn't want anyone seeing me so that they could say to Darren when he comes along, he's up there puking. So all I could do was just get to that finish line. And it turns out I put 45 minutes on him. And I didn't know. I had no idea. Yeah. So that's my
You could have enjoyed your Muller rice.
That's going to be on my fucking gravestone. I put 45 minutes on Darren Sheridan and Connemara at the 100 ball.
And now 3,500 people on this podcast will have listened and heard it as well. So Darren,
oh, man.
Darren, if you're listening, we'll get you on next week.
Oh, here, I meant to say that another I know I'm going over my time limit here, but this is funny as well. Just remember I was saying people annoy me.
It's pretty much the title of the podcast. Gary Reinhardt. I run, but people annoy me when I run.
So in general, right? So I ran Hamburg last week, right? And fucking nearly died, right? I got heat stroke. The heat was unreal. So I had a stinker of a run. I literally nearly died, right? But I'll save this from that drama, right? But we were going home, myself and my mate Richard Foy ran together, and we were going home. So right at the airport, right? And I see this dude and he's walking around the airport and he's wearing jeans, a t-shirt, yeah, and his marathon medal around his neck. Yeah. Right? So he's not even wearing sports gear. He's wearing jeans, a t-shirt, and his marathon medal. And I was like, your man must be taking the piss. Like, mates are probably around the corner or whatever. He was fucking sitting beside me on the plane.
The medal man.
And I was so disgusted that I refused to talk to him. I was like, I'm not even talking to you. Who
You
wears
probably
a
listen to the
medal?
podcast.
He better not. Jesus, he's going to hate me now. But nah, he would.
It's his last chance to wear the medal before it gets put away for the rest of his life. He's making the most of his trip. He survived the heat wave. Fair play to that man.
He would have catching the vibes anyway, so he knows I hated him. He's just like, oh man.
So anyone who's doing Dublin this year, bring a 6-pack of eggs and find Gary. We'll tell you what balloon he has, and come the last kilometre, pelt him with them.
People will be like, I'm doing 350 this year. I'm doing 350. They'll see Gary the balloon at 350 going, I'm doing 340 this year. I'm doing 340. I'm avoiding them.
I know. I'm a nice guy mostly. I'll have to tell you about Ray Darcy as well. Yeah, Ray Darcy.
Yeah.
I ran with him.
Ran Dublin half.
So
was he with you for that?
He was with me for a bit of the way, and me and Ray have a bit of history, right?
Sounds like
So years ago, one of my first pacing gigs, right? We were running myself and this fella called Eamon Dargan, right? Eamon's gas, right? And he's a real joker, and the two of us having a crack, and we were I don't know where the fuck we were, coming up to Heartbreak Hill, say, right? And I knew that Ray Darcy lives out that way, and he stands on a corner giving out fig rolls, because I used to listen to his show all the time, you know, back before he went on to fucking old people Radio 1. He was on Today FM. He was deadly, you know, and I knew where he'd be standing, and he was giving out. So I said to Eamon, here, Ray Darcy, he always stands in the same place every year giving out fig rolls. Do you want to do something to him? And he's like, yeah. What'll we do? And I was like, I don't know. We'll think about it when we get there, right? So I'm running up anyway and going up the hill, and there he is. I see him, right? I was like, oh, there he is. We pick him up. Let's just pick him up, right? So we fucking picked up Ray Darcy in a king's chair. Me on one side, Amo on the other side, and we fucking ran with him, right? And we had no other plan to drop him. So we're just running with Ray Darcy in a king's chair, right? And it was like, he's like, no, lads, no, stop acting the bollocks now. Come on, stop. We must have run in about a kilometre with him, because we had no plans to drop him, and we were getting bollocks. We're like that. So we dropped him anyway, and off he went. And I seen him then at the Dublin half, right? And I came up behind him near Croke Park. I came up behind him, and he just turns around, he looks up at me. And I went, Ray, you bollocks. And he just looks at me and goes, oh, for fuck's sake. And I said, do you remember me? And he says, you're some fucking bollocks. You know that? He said, right in front of all me neighbours, you did that to me. And he says, you know what? He says, you can fuck off now. He says, you're telling me to go on there. You can fuck off. He says, but I'll tell you this. He says, I never stood in that place ever again. He said, I stood on the other side of the road and I watched you go by every year.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, look, it's I'm sure, look, you're not done yet, and I'm sure there's plenty more. Will you be pacing the next marathon?
Yeah. I reckon I'll be doing 4 hours. I don't know. Anna and Anta will decide what's what, you know?
Well, for those who have grudges, Medal Man is going to be back now with flour and eggs running a 4 hour with you.
Dead right.
But it has been absolutely brilliant, Gary, having you on. It's getting to see the stories from the other side is fantastic as well, and getting to hear the other side is brilliant. I've no doubt that when people actually meet you, you're not that mean, because I've ran close to you as well. You're actually quite a friendly. We won't tell Jared that you're actually a real nice pacer. But it's been brilliant having you on, and I've no doubt people will use you as a crutch to get them over the line in their times and following their PBs, and what you and what the other pacers do is fantastic for people. So well done, keep it up, and hopefully we'll be able to join you on the course for a run as well soon.
Deadly, lads. I always say it's all about the crack, you know. So absolutely. I always say in the pub, but some fella comes up to me in the pub after Dublin, and I go to him, how'd you do? And he goes, oh, I ran 2:51. And I go, yeah, but did you enjoy it?
And on that note, thank you very much for listening to this week's episode of the Any Given Run Day podcast with myself, Gary, and Eric. Take care.
Good luck.